My body becomes like a cement. Oh my God.
That was the better one.
Okay. Oh my God. It's like magic. Literally, it's like magic.
I know. I remember this back there like, yeah, Hello.
Good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good
Happy
morning.
Tuesday. All that good stuff. Yes, yes.
And we love technology. Obviously, none of our messages have been going back and forth. I didn't get a link until like 2 minutes before the show today.
What?
I don't know. And did you get my messages that I had sent because I didn't have anything? It was like, oh, brother. So let's see. Well, hey, good morning, Barb. How are you?
It's funny because I haven't got any messages. I was like,
I have not.
And I was like, uh-oh. See, that tells you right there you have to have more than one, maybe electronic running around here.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, okay, I'm going to tell, because nothing had happened, I said, well, there's no link, and I didn't want to leave our guest hanging, so I sent her a message to reschedule her. So hopefully she got a link before I sent her. I don't know.
Yeah, because I emailed her. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, I didn't get it until this morning.
Yeah, because I emailed it last night, and I emailed both of you.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
didn't get it this morning because I checked this morning and I said, well, there must have been a computer glitch. We love technology. We love technology when it works, and we love technology when it doesn't.
well, let's do this. I'm going to go to another sponsor real quick, and let's double check real quick before we start. Here we go.
Okay.
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family, and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a buddies network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Friday, everyone. Your real worth isn't defined by your net worth. What makes you valuable is how you use what you have been given. All of us have gifts. Make sure you're making the most of yours. Have an amazing Friday.
It is now the bottom of the hour. I'm excited to welcome Nancy Matthews to our program today. Nancy is an author of a book. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it in the carousel for you guys. There it is, The One Philosophy. I want to talk to Nancy not only about the re-release of the book, but also what it's been like for her to share the message with all of you guys. Nancy, great to have you on with us.
Hello, hello, hello. So happy to be here.
Okay. So
Good morning, Barb. How are you,
everybody? Like I said, okay, let's rewind. Happy Tuesday. In May, and we will continue on. So,
we love technology.
Yeah. So first, I want to start off by saying, Google email sucks. And I don't like it with a passion right now because that is really odd. But anyway, see, now this is a lesson learned because me and Bob, we always learn from things that happen to us, and we like, okay, what to do next time or whatever. Right. So just to let everybody know, if you have a show and you have guests that are coming on and you have to give them a certain link to get in, make sure that you send it in different formats, not just an email, but maybe you do an IM, or maybe you do a message on the phone, or maybe a smoke signal, whatever you do. And in all different type of places.
Exactly. Have more than one avenue. So lesson learned. The thing is, though, also, I think the biggest lesson is life happens. So how you respond to what happens in life is totally a choice. You and I, of course, always say, well, okay, let's just laugh. Oh, well, things happen. So let's go on, because this is the time to shine happiness show. And all of us have things that happen in our lives that, I mean, this can really, we're going to look back on this and go, remember the time, like for me, remember the time when Tripod knocked down my virtual background.
Every time I think about that, it's just so funny. But you know what? You just kind of said, what I like what you did is like, okay, well, he just knocked it down. And you're like, well, the show must go on. Here we go.
That was the lesson. The show must go on. And I think that's one of the things that so often people who are coming into the space of doing a podcast or being a speaker or starting to get themselves out there, they let the worry of those things stop them. But what if this happens? Well, okay, so what if it does? Yeah, just, oh, well, here we are. We're still going on with the show. And so often, and that's my prayer for you. So if you're listening to this and you have seen this glitch, don't let the worry, the concern of those little things, because that's your brain saying to you, oh, but what if? That's your fight and flight mechanism. That's not real. Just go on. Take the next step, and either it'll turn out or it won't. And that's okay either way. But the thing is that I think that we have to all remember is that just taking the step forward. So so something else happened, because even coming on to StreamYard, you'll notice I don't even have my regular background. My background wasn't there. This is oh, well,
You know what? It's funny, Barbara. You said that happened to me in Zoom, where I had the backgrounds, and all of a sudden, all my backgrounds weren't there, and I was like, "What?
Where did the background just go?"
And then after everything was over, like the whole event and everything, all of a sudden, Barbara, they
all came. I swear, Barb, that it's a test. It's a test of our ingenuity. It's a test of our trust, that we trust ourselves. Like you and I came on and said, well, we'll do it, and we're hoping that Trista got in the midst of all that she got the link. Don't know yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to, this is where I get the thankful and gratitude right now. I'm just thankful that you finally got the link to get in. So at least, it's for us to keep it moving here. Because then I would have been here like doing solo, which, I could do solo, but this is not a solo show. This is not
as fun. It's not as fun.
Yeah, so you can laugh at yourself so many times,
Yeah. Yeah, which is why, I mean, you know, that when we first started to do the show, we're coming up on 3 years. It's going to be 3 years next month. 3. Count them. 1, 2, 3.
Yes,
Anyway,
yes.
when
We're putting something together. I know we are trying to get something together to make a special show for us for 3 years. So that's a good milestone for a show, an online show to come on. Yeah.
And plus, we hit over 10,000 views.
Yes. Oh, we finally hit the 10K for our show. I was like, yes.
Our show.
Yes.
And you know, the thing is that, but when we first started, we were like, okay, what are we going to do? I have looked back on a couple of the first shows. Oh yeah, we've come a long way. Yeah. We have. Of just, you know, you and I have, I mean, we've grown, we've gelled. I mean, we knew each other, but now we've just really, this has been fun. Yeah. And we've grown and we've seen the difference in our styles, and we've come into our styles and we've gelled together, and it is just, it's fun. And why I've been doing that is I went back to see when was our first show.
Okay.
So just like, oh, I remember that show. And, you know, and it is so good to do that. Also, look back on some of your early things, because you never see how far you've come until you look back to see where you came from.
Yeah. And even, it's funny, bro, because because I was looking at some of my takes that I did back in, like you said, 3 or 4 years ago, when I was just doing Facebook Live, not even a show,
right? Not even a show.
Live, and I was like, oh my, the way I even looked, this like my whole everything was like, what was I? Some places I was like, what was I thinking? And in others, it's like, wow, I learned from there. Yeah. So what was I thinking? Did I look in the mirror this morning? I mean, it was just stuff like that going on. But it's like you said, Barbara, looking past and then going to now. That's where you see where you arrived. That's where you see where you moved up and you grew, and you know, a lot of things you learned, and you're still doing it. You know,
and you're still doing it. And that's it. 3 years later, here we are, still doing it consistently, and just putting ourselves out there.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's the fun part of what we do. And yet, so often people say to me, and I know they say it to you, how do you do that? You know, we like the people that we've brought on and it's like, oh, I've never done a TV show before, or I've never done, you know, and it's like, hey, but it's fun.
Yes.
And you make it fun, and then you go past the glitches.
Mm-hmm.
Go past the glitches, because glitches happen no matter what you're doing. And one of my favorite sayings is, on any given day, any one of us can have a bad day. And I don't care who you are or what you do.
And you know, I was going to ask you this question, Barbara. I'm going to ask it for the audience too that's listening too. Is it really a bad day?
Exactly.
Is it really a bad day, or is it a day where, you know, things are just all going crazy? And it's like a test for yourself to say how, like we said before, how are you going to respond to it? Are you going to react, or are you going to respond? Exactly. And I had those days, if you want to say bad days, just the other day. I think between the time I woke up, Barbara, to the time I went to bed, everything was not going as planned at all. I mean, at all. And every time something would happen, like back to back, mm-hmm. I would say, okay, Barbara, how are you going to react? Something else happened. Okay, Barbara, how are you going to react? Now, there were 2 times I responded really. I mean, no, there was a lot of times I responded well. There were 2 times when I reacted really bad.
Exactly. It's because we're human. We are human.
Yeah. And I said that. I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and beat myself up because I acted all crazy on this particular thing, because I'm human. And maybe got to the point where after 6 things happen, it's like, okay, now maybe I'm getting a little weary.
You know, just some days when you're having kind of like a quote unquote bad day, some people's bad days are a little bit more bigger than us having a glitch in our show thing today. Some people's bad behavior is national news. pick up the paper without somebody doing something that was either inappropriate, illegal, or whatever. So, but it still comes back to that on any given day, any one of us can have a bad day.
Yes. Yeah.
Just some people's bad days are much more public.
Yeah. Yeah.
Than other people's days. It's like, look at when you see some of the stars that all of a sudden they're like the tabloids get a hold of something that they have done. And it's like, whose business is it? I'm sorry, I don't need to know who's sleeping with who. I don't need to know that. So in other words, so my thing is that don't listen to some of that stuff, because so much of it is made up, sensationalized. They take one little comment, take it out of context, and then blow it up.
Yeah.
And then people are left in the lurch, and then there's the retraction. Well, it doesn't undo the damage that was done to the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's just like, let's have a little bit more kindness in the world. Let's be kind. And check your facts. Like this morning, it was just kind of like all these messages going back and forth. And we're like, okay, what happened? Don't know. We'll probably never know. Probably all the message will come all at one time.
Well, you know what? We have a gift, because remember how you say, let's respond instead of react?
Yeah.
Well, we responded really well this morning, Barbara. And guess who we have? We have our queen that's in the
Yay!
that will be coming on with us, Miss Trisha.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to.
She's a gem. She is a gem. She has had just such an interesting life. Of just going places that, oh brother, I can't quite imagine it, but you wait till you hear her story. It's been really good. But one of the things that I was, now we've just been chatting. So, I'll talk about what I was going to, there's a couple of other little things. I was going to talk about the first ladies' day of about the first ladies. And there's a whole of the United States. So that we're going to save that for next week. So come back next week and we're going to talk about the first lady.
See, Barbara, you know what? You're not right. Why did you do that? You're going to throw that out there and then you'll be like, see you next week with it. And I'm sitting there like all week going to be thinking about, okay, Barbara, what is it?
With the first lady.
See, I like that. That's suspense.
I'm gonna have to do that more often, once in a while.
Yeah, because you suspend. Now you got me, and I'm your co-host. And don't tell me either. I was about to say, don't tell me until next week.
I'm not going to
try to everybody else
next week.
Okay. With that said, we're going to go to one of our sponsors, and then we're going to bring on Miss Queen here. I'm so happy that she was still able to make it. So here we go.
I'm so excited.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They, like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
And we're back with our guest, our wonderful guest. I hope she can hear us. Yes. Yeah. It looks like she's froze.
A little bit.
Yeah, she's a little bit frozen. I hope you can. Is it Trisha? I want to make sure I say her name right.
Trista, can you hear us?
Trista. Okay, we're gonna because I know she's. I seen a movement. I seen a little movement. Like ta-da!
Trista is in the Middle East.
Oh, see, I love when we go global. Okay, she's moving.
Yeah, you were frozen there for a minute, Trista. How are you doing this morning? Okay, not a good connection.
Oh, connection's a little bit weak. This is our technology again.
Yeah. I mean, par for the course of today.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah. All right.
Well, okay. Well, you might be able to do the ladies today.
All right. Okay. So the First Ladies Club was, it's all the first ladies. So who was the first lady?
Oh. The first lady,
First ladies of the United States. So the very first president.
Yeah, who was his wife?
Martha. Yeah. How do we remember her names? Martha Washington.
Oh yeah, that's kind of bad. I didn't know that.
This is what I love about history. But anyways, when was she inaugurated? She became the first lady when?
Do I get to guess?
Oh, I'll tell you. April 30th. Or do you want to guess?
I want to guess the year. You know me, I get all excited about the year. You said, go ahead, Barbara, do it. 1780.
Close, because we became a nation in 1776, but they weren't inaugurated until 1789.
Wow, I was really
very good.
I'm getting better with years.
Yeah, and the thing is that she was the first first lady. But anyways, so all of the first ladies. Okay, yeah, okay, Trista's back. We're gonna talk. Because I want to talk about some of the gifts and things that the first ladies have done and things that they're remembered for. So we'll do that next week.
Okay, we're back. Hopefully, Trish, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Your voice is a little mechanical. It's coming a little bit mechanical.
Okay.
It's almost like a feedback somewhere. I was gonna say, maybe you can do it without your mic. Maybe that might help. I don't know. Sometimes
without your head, without your head. No, it must be the connection.
It's a connection because she's freezing.
She's frozen. No, whoop.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. I know she don't even want to touch anything to make sure. Okay, now she's in mute.
Now we can't hear you.
Yeah. Because I want to hear her story. I want to hear her story so bad. Okay, now she's off mute.
Okay, yeah, it says, okay, now maybe you can unmute her?
No, it won't let me unmute her. So she has to do it on her end. There we go.
Now.
There we go. We can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, okay, yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. We know technology. We're used to it.
Krista, my favorite saying is we love technology when it works, and we love technology when it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to get upset.
I just do not. It's like, oh, well.
Just go with it.
Just you go with it because you can't do anything about it. And so that's like this morning with all of the messaging going back and forth. And it's like, oh, brother, are we even going to be able to have a show? Just.
And I know I said the email. I was like, oh, where did the email go? It went to La La Land, maybe. I don't know.
I got it this morning, like 2 minutes before the show. I went and looked again. I was in my email.
Oh, okay.
So we love it.
Okay.
We love it. So Trista.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. It's so good to have you here. So tell Barb, I love your story.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I am Trista. I am a Canadian. I am a humanitarian aid worker. So I have been working around the world for the past 20 years in places like Angola, Kosovo, Sri Lanka, Yemen, Iraq. I'm currently in Lebanon, so I've been working here for the past 6.5 years. And we work with the Syrian refugees. And then in the evenings and the weekends, I am running my coaching business. I'm a life coach for women who are feeling stuck. So I've been working and traveling my way around the world.
She has a podcast.
I have a podcast. Yes, it's called This Daring Adventure. So it's a little bit of, a couple of interviews. I've only done a couple of interviews so far. Some, coaching issues and whatnot. My upcoming episode on Thursday is about taking a solo retreat. So for women who want to get away and spend some time just reflecting, getting clear, maybe making some decisions, I've got like a little bit of an outline of how they can do that and why and how helpful it is. I'm planning to do a retreat myself in 2 weeks' time in Italy. So this is why I wanted to share that and put that out there. So,
well, first of all, I always call, just to let you know, Trisha, I call Lady Queens that come on because I look at y'all as royalty. So when you hear me say queen, that's you, and that's Barbara, of course, Barbara too. But that is amazing that you have, for the last 20 years, you've been really just traveling the world and helping so many people, lady. I mean, yes. I mean, that to me, that's like the plan of all plans in my life, because I love to travel anyway. And for you to do that and also to help people, that's you're like a lighthouse to the world. So now, how did you just start all? Because I like to hear backstories. Don't do this to me now. I love you, technology. I love you.
We love you. We love you.
I gotta put that out there, Barbara. Put the feelers quick. There we go. Okay.
I can hear you the whole.
I know it went black. That's why this kept saying, "I love technology."
We love technology.
So what? I didn't want to stay there that long. So what kind of like got you to this point? I'd like to hear like the whole backstory to see what got you to this point here.
Right. So when I was 16, I started traveling. My dad took me to Paris for spring break, March break, I guess it was, in high school. And I decided then and there that I wanted to travel and didn't want to stop. And then I went to university and did my bachelor's degree in political studies. I did a bit of traveling after that. And then I did my master's in international development. And so I wanted to combine a career with my passion to travel and do something meaningful, helpful, something that made a small contribution. And so I took a job. I was a United Nations volunteer in Angola for 1.5 years when I first graduated, and just haven't stopped since. And that was 20 years ago now. So I've subsequently traveled to 75 countries. A lot of that was personal, but a good part of that was professional. It's been great. I've been very, very fortunate.
Well, I love how you took your passion and what you do as a career-wise, or when you call it your passion of your life, what you do work-wise or what have you, and put it together. Because I mean, and when you were young and after you traveled with your dad, he was like, okay, you know what? I want this to continue on and on and on and on. And you made it work and still love what you do as you're doing your passion. See, I always tell people, when you put those things together in life, it just explodes for you, because you're doing the best of both worlds. And with all, you're just loving life as you're going through it. And then on top of everything you do, then you coach. You coach ladies that are unstuck, to get them unstuck, basically. Wow.
Exactly. Yes, I started coaching a couple of years ago.
Yeah. One of the things that I loved about Trista's story is that when talking about that she coaches, women are women all around the world. And we have the same issues around the world.
Yes.
Because we're women, we're all living lives that are an everyday life. and yet we all have the same things. And so that has been, it's like I truly believe that we are more the same than we're different around the world.
Yeah.
So let's and I think Trista's part of this movement to let's bring people together. Let's bring different cultures together, because the culture itself might be different, but lots of times the emotions are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what you just said, Barbara, that's so important, Trisha, and what you're doing, because us as women, I'm so glad about Zoom right now. I mean, I hate the whole what happened coronavirus, but it brought us together in Zoom where we were able to meet different women in different other continents. And I started hearing their voice. I started hearing what they went through. I started hearing the similarities that we have. And then I started hearing the not similarities that we have, where my heart was going out for them. Where I could just go. I mean, one lady I was talking to, I think she was living in India or something. Yeah, India. And I was telling her how, we were talking about spiritual beliefs.
Right.
And what I do every week, at church and stuff. And she said, in our, certain way, we can't do certain things as women. And I was like, wow. And I was thinking to myself, no, I don't want you to be able not to do what you want to do, and that was just religious. This is a religious type of example. But like you said, and you probably found this out, Trisha, that, some women in different continents, they can't do certain things that we do in the U.S. And my heart goes out, and I understand that empathy is there for them to understand that, which I didn't know until I got to meet them and get to talk to them and building relationships.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So important to know that we all go to, it's when we all deal with the same thing, but then you don't know where certain boundaries are.
No, it's true. And
uh-oh.
Oop.
I'm putting that.
And I do.
Maybe if you turn your video off, maybe your sound will come in better.
Okay, there you go. Oh, she's back. Oh, she was back.
Oh no, yeah. Because I mean,
she's about to say a really good statement. But yeah, Barbara. So you experienced the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm Canadian. Even just little things coming from Canada to the U.S. 40. How many years ago? Anyways, but the little differences of just from Canada to the U.S. Just those little small differences. I cannot imagine going to a completely different culture, and yet I think that would be the most fun thing to do. Like, I've always thought of travel as just, like when I went to Denmark and when I went to England, but then I came back.
Yeah.
Trista has taken travel to a whole new level of going and spending. That's why she has had such a varied, I mean, she's been to 75 different countries. I know of that.
I know. I mean, I'm just blowing it away.
I'm living vicariously through her.
Yeah, me too.
you see the travel brochures of all these countries, and Trista's been there,
and stayed and helping and living there and doing what she does. Because some people just go for maybe a week or whatever, come back. It's like, no,
and only see the highlights. And that's one of my favorite things. I say that all the time, but so often we compare our everyday life to someone else's highlight reel. And I'm sure that Trista could tell us that not all of it was fun and roses. Some of it was, so we always think that, wouldn't it be wonderful to travel around? Yeah, well, I'm sure some of it wasn't always good. Some truly dangerous places to live.
Yeah, because I was thinking Lebanon. Is that okay being over there? Because I know I hear stories, and you know how news does. They'll put out more stuff than what it really should be. So
Yes.
until you talk to the person that's over there. Yeah.
Yes. No, I mean, the news is very scary. Definitely. You want to turn the TV off and
Yes.
don't listen to it. I mean, that's their job, right? Is to get your attention and to, keep you interested. But no, I mean, I feel very safe here, and I've had no problems whatsoever. It's probably been one of the most comfortable places that I've lived, and I mean that sort of like in terms of my own personal safety and the kindness and generosity of the people. They've been amazingly helpful and just very, very kind. So I felt very, very safe here and very much at home. So
now with the women that you're over there, the women that you coach there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your coaching programs. Do you see, like, I know we see similarities we were talking about earlier. Do you see some differences that they have to cope with, which us as women here in the U.S. wouldn't have to cope with, that you have to work with that as a coach?
I mean, sometimes there are definitely some cultural issues that maybe are a little bit more demanding than what we may be used to in North America. But there are a lot of similarities, especially here in Lebanon. A lot of the women are working full time. They're raising their children, and they very much do have the family structure and the support system. Like the families do tend to live close together and are very supportive of each other in terms of childcare and whatnot. But you still see women that are struggling with, when they're at work, they feel guilty from being away from home, and then they're at home and then they feel guilty because they're not working. And there are an awful lot of similarities. And I do most of my coaching actually on Zoom. So I land up speaking to women all over the world. I've coached women in Singapore, in Dubai, in Johannesburg, London, Dublin, Edinburgh, and New York, London, Toronto, all over the world.
Right.
And, there are so many similarities. And as women, we all sort of have this feeling that we're not doing enough. We're not doing it good enough, that we're somehow doing it wrong. There's a lot, like I work a lot with women in midlife, and there's this idea that it's too late for them.
Yes.
All these ideas, and it doesn't seem to matter which country they're from. There's that same undercurrent of, there's something wrong with me. I'm doing it wrong. Need to be fixed. So,
well, thank God for you, Queen. I mean, for bringing all that to let them know that no, you can do, even if you're whatever age you are. It doesn't matter, or wherever you live or whatever, it doesn't matter. You can still do what you want to do. I mean, they need to hear that, and I'm glad that you are being that, just leading them in that way.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, and I think it's a really powerful message that everything that you think is wrong with you is just a part of being human. Like there's no part of your experience or your emotions or your thoughts that is ever wrong. It's all just a part of being human and the human experience.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, because we were kind of talking similar before you came on, Queen. Me and Barbara was talking about, about a bad day or making a mistake or things not going right, or you feel like, oh my God, I'm just so crazy in my mind. And it's not that. It's just you're human. We're human. Things happen, and we just that's a part of our life. I always say that's a part of what we do. That's how we grow. That's how we learn and move forward.
Yeah. It's really
because
true.
every time we handle something like that, like today, or miscommunication or misstep or whatever, every time we handle something like that, we need to celebrate the fact that, hey, we did it. Yay! Pat yourself on the back. Celebrate that. Hey, you know what? We did this. We have overcome this challenge. We have overcome this technology. We have overcome this, because we all have family dynamics. We all have family dynamics, and the amount of people in the family might be different. You might be alone, but you know what? You can't get away from yourself. So you have family dynamics. I don't care if you're the only person in the room. You have a family dynamic because you have to be friends with yourself. And so often people don't think that. And they have this whole dialogue going on within themselves, and they're beating themselves up. That inner dialogue. Well, that inner dialogue is, that's your family dynamic. You can tell. Have you ever told your brother or sister or some family member, shut up? You can do it to yourself. Shut up. I'm not going to listen to you anymore, and go off. Even if you're by yourself.
I had to tell myself to shut up a few times.
Exactly. It's a never-ending cycle, because no matter what, no matter who you are, where you are in the world, you cannot get away from yourself.
Right. Yes. No, and I give the same advice actually to my clients, that when you have that inner critic and that monologue in your head, you have to just stop it and to say no and change that dialogue. And
shut it down. Wow.
Yeah.
And make the choice to turn that negative into something positive. One of my things is I'll get up and do my a little happy dance, or I'll put on the twist. I think I've said it on a couple of times. I have a surprise playlist. Whatever the surprise playlist comes on, I dance to it. And sometimes it's the twist. Sometimes it's opera. Depending. But it's the movement that moves your body away from the negative.
Yeah.
It's true.
So important. So important.
Yeah. So, what you focus on, you will create more of. So you have a choice. You want to focus on the negative. It comes very easily to us. That's what our brain is working, looking for. But you have to, be, I tell it, be an adult. You have to be an adult in this relationship with your brain, that you focus it on what you want to focus on and what's going to serve you and make you feel better.
Right.
I love how you said what you focused on, what did you say again? It was powerful, that what you just said. What you focus on.
What you focus on, you'll create more of.
More of. Wow. That's something that's really sitting with me right now. Yeah. Because if you focus on the negative, if you focus on everything or whatever that's going crazy all the time, then it's going to bring, you get more of it, because that focal point is there. Yeah. So just like we're always talking about this show about happiness, the biggest mission for Barbara, I know, is, she wants everybody, just to be happy. Just to have that. Yeah. And if you focus on that, you can bring more of it in your life.
Right. And one of my things that I say is if you have had more positive things happen to you in the day than negative things that have happened in the day, then you've had a happy day. When you focus on the positive things that happen to you, and especially at night before you go to bed, let go of everything that happened in the day and then focus on one or two or three of the positive things that happened, and go have those in your brain before you go to sleep. Because you'll wake up, chances are you'll wake up in the morning and you'll be in a more positive state of mind, because your brain never sleeps. Ever. So what you focus on before you go to bed is what your brain is going to focus on during the night.
Wow. Well, with this said, time is of the essence, and time has passed, unfortunately, that we're going to have to wrap up. But Tricia, thank you so much for coming on with everything that went on. I'm so glad.
We were able to do it. Yeah.
To the point where we're going to have to ask you to come back, because we want to make sure, we hear more of what you do and the things that you're helping with the women. So we would love for you to come back if you can.
I would be honored. Thank you. That's very kind of you.
So, and I will invite Trista to the Diamond Perspectives group. It's on Facebook, Trista. We meet the first Thursday of it. Let's give ourselves a plug. We meet on the first Thursday of every month at 6:00 Central Time. Oh no, that was the middle of the night for you.
In the middle of the night, yeah. But when I'm back in North America for a visit or something, I can drop in. For sure.
Come online,
Yeah. People, the women come and go as they can.
Yeah,
and we have women from all over the world.
Yeah.
So if they can come on the show, great. If they can't, oh well, maybe next time. And so we have different people all the time.
Yeah.
And it's
so we'll
fun.
make sure we hook you up in the messenger so
We'll
you know.
put you in
Just
the
in case you
messenger.
feel like you never know, you might have a night of just being all that excitement going. You say, "Hey, I think I want to kick into the to the show."
Never know.
Never know. So thank you so much, Queen, for coming on the show. We truly honor and adore you, and we wish you many, many, many success. Again, you're family to us, so you're always welcome to come back. Barbara, as always, you always bring the powerful guest, as I always say, to the show. And we will be back next Tuesday, same time. And as Barbara always says, Barbara, I always give
let's make happiness the norm rather than the exception.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Do it. That's it. Happy
and we'll
Tuesday.
see you next week. Have a good one, everybody.